Although we may not realize it while doing physical activity, there's always some form of science happening within our bodies. Running is a vigorous exercise that gets all of your muscles going. It affects the biochemistry of your body, the metabolic processes within your body, but also homeostasis in order to maintain overall balance. Running is an important exercise as it not only saves you from danger in times of need, but it improves your cardiovascular health because it is an aerobic exercise. It strengthens your muscles and bones as well as help you burn calories to achieve a healthy weight. Before running, you need some form of fuel in order to power your body. Fuel can come in many forms, such as macromolecules like proteins, fats, or carbohydrates. Most of the time, people consume carbohydrates and proteins before exercise to receive the most amount of energy they can. Carbohydrates provide fast energy while protein helps with muscle growth and development. Carbohydrates are macromolecules of glucose polymers linked together from monomers, which are smaller subunits. They are composed of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen atoms, bonded together by glycosidic linkages. Although fats appear to be more favorable due to the fact that they provide twice the amount of energy of carbohydrates, carbohydrates are more easily broken down in the body through glycolysis as they are sugars, making them more practical for quick energy production. Complex carbohydrates, polysaccharides, contain many units of monosaccharides in long chains. A few examples are rice, corn, potatoes, and pasta. Polysaccharides are an awesome source of energy as starchy carbohydrates contain links of monosaccharides. Polysaccharides can be used right away, but also store as glycogen when doing long-distance running in a marathon or during cross-country running. This allows the runner to continue to run for longer due to their glycogen reservoirs for strenuous activity. It would not be preferable for a runner to eat something like fruit or candy before exercising, as they have shorter carbohydrate chains. This also causes them to taste sweet, unlike polysaccharides. A shorter chain of carbohydrates would be used up by the body faster, creating a sugar high that quickly goes away, while a longer chain of carbohydrates has more glucose, taking longer for the body to use up in glycolysis. Additionally, if the chain is longer, this allows the body to store the extra glucose in the liver as glycogen for future use when the body requires fuel for glycolysis. Furthermore, when we exercise, we sweat to cool down the body. This results in water loss, but also the loss of electrolytes such as sodium and potassium. In order to restore these lost electrolytes, you may drink sports drinks such as Gatorade and Powerade since they have the ability to restore the lost electrolytes from sweating. The only downside to energy drinks are the high amounts of sugar. You should only consume energy drinks while doing strenuous exercise that will result in a lot of water loss, as your body will break down the sugar in the drinks while working out. The body does not necessarily require energy drinks, as coconut water that contains electrolytes and water alone can also help restore water loss from sweat as well. Since we consume carbohydrates, we must break down the glucose in those carbohydrates to fuel our body. When polysaccharides are consumed, they are broken down into monosaccharides and catabolic reactions to release energy. This energy release is commonly referred to as ATP. ATP is produced through cellular respiration, which has two different pathways, aerobic and anaerobic cellular respiration. Aerobic respiration involves oxygen, while anaerobic respiration does not. Most of the time, the body uses aerobic respiration to provide energy and involves 4 steps to create energy. Since we consume carbohydrates, they instantly enter glycolysis, an anaerobic process which occurs in the cytoplasm of the cell. Glycolysis helps break down glucose into 2 pyruvate molecules, which are then further broken down to produce energy. This process creates 2 net ATP molecules and also creates 2 NADH molecules, which can be further broken down to create more energy throughout cellular respiration. Usually our bodies are controlled by supply and demand. When we sprint very hard, our bodies are not used to this high demand of energy required. This results in lactate fermentation, a process in which pyruvate reacts with NADH and is directly transformed into lactate while regenerating. Lactate fermentation happens in human muscle cells while doing high-intensity exercises and when energy demands surpass how much oxygen is available in the electron transport chain for oxidative phosphorylation. Anaerobic respiration regenerates NAD+, which sustains and supports the high production of glycolysis while increasing energy production. The lactic acid can build up in muscle cells until you finish sprinting. This is why you sometimes feel sore after an intense workout. After finishing, you usually feel breathless from strenuous exercise. As a result, your body begins to repay oxygen debt from panting to restore balance. Some benefits of anaerobic respiration include muscle endurance and strengthening your cardiorespiratory fitness levels. As mentioned, our bodies are controlled by supply and demand. Our bodies respond to changes in ATP levels through creatine phosphate. When we produce too much ATP in our cells than required, the extra ATP is used to phosphorylate creatine. When creatine is phosphorylated, it becomes a molecule with high amounts of energy. This molecule can be stored within cells and used to rapidly produce ATP. Creatine phosphate can come in handy during sprinting, as it is a high-intensity exercise which requires a high input of energy. Creatine phosphate can also help build muscle and increase your strength and endurance, leading to overall improved performance. Since cellular respiration is an exothermic reaction, you release heat as a waste product while running. This is why you usually feel hot while doing exercise. As a result, this disrupts the homeostasis of the body as it increases body temperature. For the body to offset this change, it goes through a negative feedback system called thermoregulation to cool down your body temperature. The sudden change in temperature is detected by the thermoreceptors in the skin, which sends a signal to the hypothalamus, an area which controls nerve and hormone function. This region in your brain sends a signal to turn on its cooling system to restore your normal body temperature. The body's cooling system activates, which signals the sweat glands to sweat in order to cool you down through evaporation and vasodilation, which allows heat to leave through your skin into the air. During situations such as running away from danger, your adrenal medulla activates the flight or fight response. The nervous system regulates this part of the adrenal glands to produce adrenaline and norepinephrine to be secreted into the blood. Adrenaline causes retinal dilation, which enhances your visual understanding, allowing you to proceed with caution. It also results in glycogen breaking down into glucose, resulting in higher blood glucose levels, which provide you with a sudden burst of energy, and your heart rate increases as well as your respiratory and cell metabolism rate. Vasodilation also occurs, which increases your blood supply of oxygen and nutrients to tissues like your muscle cells. This allows cellular respiration to occur faster to provide more energy to your body to escape from danger as soon as possible. While running, endorphins are produced by the anterior pituitary gland and the hypothalamus. Endorphins are secreted by the intermediate lobe of the pituitary gland, which is the master gland. Inside the peripheral nervous system, endorphins behave as neurotransmitters in instances that are pleasurable and stressful, such as long-distance running. Endorphins have the ability to behave similarly to drugs, reducing pain and creating a sense of euphoria and excitement. This is an essential part of exercise, as endorphins are released in specific regions of the brain, producing a sense of runner's high for the athlete. This also ties between mental health and exercise, as there is a link between exercise and depression. According to research, exercise can work as well as antidepressants for those suffering from depression. Although you may not think of it, running involves so many different processes within the body. Who knew a simple activity could involve so much science? Even eating a certain type of food allows you to do physical activity better due to its chemical structure and macromolecules. Processes like glycolysis and the release of endorphins allow you to exercise to the best of your ability while also maintaining the integral balance within your cells. After sitting here and learning all of this information, maybe it's time for you to get up and start running to power up your mitochondria and feel these processes in action.